Hey everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Today I'm going to do something that's not a tree, but it will go on the tree for our episode 8. I wanted to do a separate video of how to make this star. And you can make this star out of scrap wood. And it's from point to point, it's about 15.5 inches. So you'd have to kind of adjust it if you want something smaller. I just cut it 1.5 inches thick. So let's get started. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to make a star for the top of the tree on my episode 8 of making your Christmas trees. I wanted to do a separate little video on how to make a star. I'm just going to use some scrap 1x8. I have 3 8-inch pieces here. And now I'm just going to go to the table saw and I'm going to cut 1.5 inch strips on them. So I needed 10 pieces. Now one of the angles on all 10 of these pieces is going to be 36 degrees. So we're going to put our chop saw at 36 degrees and cut one end of these. And then when we do the other side, it'll be a different angle. So I'll kind of show you how we get to that angle because it's larger angle than my chop saw can handle. And maybe most chop saws can handle. But I'll show you a little trick on how to do that. But first, let's cut one side of these all at 36 degrees. So all 10 of these now are cut one side is 36 degrees. Now this side, we have to cut at 54 degrees. We're gonna have 5 of them at 6 inches long and 5 of them at 4.5. So it'll be from, now that 54 degrees is on the same angle as that, right? So it'll be like that. So I'm gonna cut these to length, and I'm gonna show you a little trick on how to I can get this to 54 degrees on there. So here's your little tip on how you can get 54 degrees on your chop saw when it might not go to 54 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this 2x4 on 30 degrees both ways. That means every time I put a piece of wood here, it's already 30 degrees. To get to 54, all I need to change this is to 24 degrees. So I'll kind of show you. I'm going to cut this at 30 degrees both ways. So a little correction. When I told you cut it at 30 and then you move this to 24 to get your 54, I was incorrect. Because this is 30. This is now 60. So if you did a 45 and a 45, then you don't have to do any math that way because it's 45 no matter what. But since I did a 30, this is now 60. I need 54. So if I'm going to cut it from this way, I'm going to go 6 degrees this way. So it's going to be like 60 minus 54 instead. How I kind of thought that is, I know that from here to here was 6 inches like I was saying, but from here to here is only 5.25. So when I started moving my chop saw around, I noticed it was a little off, and I started wondering, and that's what I realized, that this is the 30 degree, this is the 60 degree to make the 90, right? So you want to adjust your chop saw to 6 degrees if you're going to do to 30. But if you want to cut it at 45, then now you don't have to do the math. You can just cut them at 9 degrees after that. Mine's a little harder to get to 45 being in this box. That's why I did the 30. So I'm just going to cut everything at 6 degrees here. These 5 are done. Now the other ones are 4.25 on one side, 4 3/4 on the other side. I'll show you what I did is kind of made like a template there So I can hold this, I can slide it right in there, and it was marking it at the same one. So once I cut the one, I kind of blocked it where it would cut each time the same dimension, because you want them as close to perfect as you can, so they all line up, so you don't see hardly any gaps when you're putting the star together. So now let me cut the smaller pieces, as I'm gonna have to adjust my little template there. Now is to try and put it together and glue them and brad nail them together. So I'm gonna do a dry run to see if the angles are all close. So this is kind of like the dry run here. So I got the long one, short one, long one, short one, long one, short one, short one, long one. So you're almost mirroring these ones, and these ones, right? Takes a little time to coordinate, but you just gotta remember that you got these angles and these angles, right? To kind of line up. So I'm gonna try and start nailing them together and put some glue on it. And we'll see how she turns out. We'll do little sections at a time. Okay, so I did all 5 of these, as you can see here. Now to try to get them all to line up to make the star. And there you have your star. The hardest part is trying to line it and get it nailed. As you watched, I got one side nailed, then I went on the other, flipped it over, and tried to get the other. So I want to try to get 2 nails in on each side, but you do it fairly well. As you can see, there's a tiny little gap there that I can put a little bit of wood filler. I'll probably end up painting it. Your dimensions are from that end to that end. This one's about 15.5 inches from here to here. From the tip to that, just over 11. About 15.5 there too. So yeah, so that you should have 15.5 from point to point, right? And then we can figure out if we're gonna put this on top of a tree, of how to fasten on the tree. You can do this fairly quickly. Just have to make a little jig on your chop saw to get the angles down properly. If you have any questions, leave in the comment section below. Hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that bell to be notified when I post another video. We'll talk to you later.